Hey everyone, Dan Dog here. I'd like to introduce you to my good buddy Spike. He's a Toyota FJ Cruiser that I purchased new in 2008 for $21,000, and in the 16 plus years that I've owned him, I've put over 300,000 miles on him. So I think it's time that I give him a performance evaluation. Now the short version is, he is by far the best vehicle I've ever owned. The most long-lasting, the most reliable, the most comfortable, the most capable, and the most fun. Now for some statistics on him, he weighs 4,300 pounds, has a 4-liter V6, a 5-speed automatic transmission, gets 22 miles per gallon with the tires it came with, but with the mud terrain tires I have on him, he gets about 16.5 miles per gallon. That's on the highway. Has a towing capacity of 5,000 pounds and a 1,250 pound payload. Now, during the time that I've owned him, I've taken him everywhere, all over the western United States. He's been in deserts, he's been in snow, he's been in rocky terrain, he's been in sagebrush, rainforest. Well, if you've seen my YouTube channel, you know he goes everywhere. Everywhere and anywhere. He's a very capable vehicle. Okay, well, let's start our tour by looking underneath. As you can see, it's got a very solid ladder type frame. There's a little rust and a bunch more dust, but the main thing you'll notice is there are no oil leaks. Okay, now let's take a look under the hood and see what that's like. Now, I don't actually ever clean under the hood other than when I'm at the car wash. I'll spray the motor off with the high pressure hose. But I never get under here with a rag or a brush or anything and clean the motor. So this is just how it looks after 300,000 natural miles. Okay, let's talk about the repairs I've had to do in that 300,000 miles. I've written them down so I wouldn't forget any. I've replaced both front axles, both front wheel bearings, and both lower control arms once. Now, I don't know if you can really count the front axles because I ruined those with a high pressure water hose trying to clean the rubber boots on the CV axles. I didn't know you could just replace the boots, and they didn't tell me they just replaced the axles. So now I have aftermarket axles on the front. We'll see. They've been doing okay. I also had to replace the alternator and the motor mounts. The motor mounts, I'm sure, is because I've just drive over such rough roads at such high speeds. It just broke the motor mounts, flattened them out. I replaced the front struts twice and the rear shocks once, but I have an appointment to do the rear shocks again in about 2 weeks. They're wore out. I replaced the spark plugs twice and the coilovers once. And that's it. Besides some brakes and oil changes, nothing else. Everything else is still original on this FJ. One of the things that I really like about Spike is the suspension on him. Really smooth over rough roads. Has 8 inches of suspension travel on the front, 9 inches of suspension travel on the rear, with about 9.5 inches of clearance. So let's talk about some of the things that I really like about this vehicle. I really like the suspension and the traction control. Going up over washboards, if you go through switchbacks, climbing up the side of a mountain, the traction control and the suspension on this vehicle are outstanding. There is nothing to compare. If you hit the gas when you're going around a corner on those washboards, the tire does not spin, and it stays right in the bump. It follows it. It doesn't bounce. I like the motor. It's a very powerful motor. I have no problem passing people. I have no problem going up hills. I've towed a few things with it. Never a problem. When I drive this FJ over rough roads, the only rattling I hear is in the equipment that I have laying in the back seat. The suspension is quiet. All the body panels are quiet. You know, there's no squeaking, there's no rattling. It's a very tight vehicle, and I have abused this vehicle. I really like the smoothness of the transmission. If I press on the gas just a little bit, it'll shift down if it needs to. You know, 1, 2 gears. If I'm driving down the road and I brake over the top of the hill and start heading down and I back up on the gas, I can feel it shift down on its own. I don't know how it knows how to do that, but I really like these kind of features. I really like the stereo system. It has a 6-speaker stereo system that it came with, and it's really loud. And I, like listening to loud music a lot of times. It still has great sound. There's no distortion. I can crank that thing way up. Plus, I can hook my phone into it. It's got a little adapter where you can just plug it in and listen to YouTube music, and the sound quality there is really good also. The vehicle is very comfortable. I've mentioned it's a lot of fun to drive. I just like the way that I fit inside of it. You don't just sit on the seat just sort of holds you there. And all of the things, the gear shift levers, the steering wheel, the window controls, the mirror controls, right there at my fingertips. Barely have to move my arm to change the temperature or anything. I've always liked this fold down sun visor on the side here. That's in addition to the sun visor that it has in the front. These two sun visors can work together. If I were in an accident, I think this would be the safest vehicle I could be in. It's a very substantial vehicle, plus it's just got airbags everywhere. I've got an airbag in the steering wheel. I've got an airbag up here on this column. On the passenger side, there's an airbag on the column. There's an airbag in the dash. There are side airbags in the seats. And in the way back here, on the ceiling there, you can see there's an airbag there that covers the back seat passengers. I really like the seats. Look at how adjustable this is. It's got this wheel here where you can adjust the front up and down. It's got this pump where you can pump the seat up and down. Of course, it's got the lever to move the back and forth. It's got the little bar up here that you pull to move the seat back and forth. It's got a nice adjustable armrest. Look how nice these are. You can just set them wherever you want. It just stays right there. If you want to put it anywhere, it stays. You want to put it all the way down, just kick it back a little, bring it forward. Headrest, totally adjustable. It's got a locking rear differential, but I hardly ever use that because the traction control works so well that I just really don't need those lockers. But I have used it 3 times, maybe a dozen, and it's gotten me out of some bad spots. And finally, I would just say that it's a very awesome looking vehicle. To this day, when I go for a hike, when I come back to the parking lot and there's all these vehicles in the parking lot, I wouldn't trade places with anybody's vehicle. I think this FJ Spike is the coolest looking vehicle in any parking lot, on any road, wherever I am, and I still get compliments on how nice it looks, even to this day. 300,000 plus miles. So, would I buy another one? Well, no, I don't have to. It still works just like a new vehicle. I think I'll get it 500,000 miles out of this vehicle, no problem. All right, so there you go. That is my possibly biased, but I think legitimate assessment of the FJ Cruiser after 300,000 miles. If you're an FJ Cruiser owner and you think I left something out or you want to say something about yours, please put it in the comment section. I'd appreciate that. Also, if you're someone who's thinking of buying an FJ Cruiser, you've got your eye on a used one, it's a good deal, man, I'd say go for it. I don't see how you could be disappointed. And then finally, do me the favor of checking out my YouTube channel. Spike and I go camping almost every single weekend, and you can watch and see how the next 300,000 miles plays out. All right, thanks for watching.